My wife's family pretended to accept me for 10 years while planning to destroy my career behind my scenes. I thought I had married into the perfect family, but after a decade of smiles and Sunday dinners, I discovered they had been orchestrating my professional downfall from day one. The revelation came through a series of events that still makes my stomach turn when I think about it. When I first met my wife during college, she seemed like everything I had ever wanted in a partner. We clicked immediately over late-night study sessions and shared dreams of building something meaningful together. Her family welcomed me with open arms during our first Thanksgiving together, and I remember feeling genuinely grateful for their warmth and acceptance. Her father was particularly kind to me, always asking about my studies and offering advice about my future career path. He worked in the same industry I was planning to enter, and his guidance felt invaluable to a young man trying to make his way in the world. Her mother would pack extra food for me to take back to my dorm, treating me like the son she never had. After graduation, I landed my first position at a mid-sized company in our city, and everything seemed to be falling into place perfectly. My wife and I got engaged shortly after, and her family threw us an engagement party that felt like a fairy tale celebration. The whole extended family was there, congratulating us and welcoming me officially into their fold. The wedding was everything we had dreamed of, held at a beautiful venue that her parents insisted on paying for despite my protests. I felt overwhelmed by their generosity and kept thanking them throughout the entire planning process. Her father even gave a speech about how proud he was to have me as a son-in-law, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house. Those first few years of marriage were challenging but rewarding as we established our careers and built our life together. I was working hard to prove myself at my company, often staying late and taking on extra projects to show my dedication. My wife was equally ambitious, and we supported each other through the inevitable ups and downs of early career struggles. Her family remained a constant source of support, or so I believed at the time. They would invite us over for dinner regularly, and I looked forward to these gatherings as a way to unwind and connect with people who cared about us. Her father would often share stories from his own career journey, and I hung on every word, eager to learn from his experience. As my career progressed, I started to notice some strange patterns that I initially dismissed as coincidences. Projects I was working on would mysteriously get reassigned to other team members, just as I was about to complete them. Presentations I had prepared would somehow get scheduled when I was unavailable due to family commitments that her family had insisted were important. The first major setback came when I was up for a promotion that seemed like a sure thing. I had been working toward this opportunity for months, and my direct supervisor had given me every indication that the position was mine. The night before the announcement, her father called to congratulate me in advance, saying he had heard through industry contacts that I was going to get the promotion. When I arrived at work the next morning, I was shocked to learn that the position had been given to someone else entirely. My supervisor seemed genuinely surprised and apologetic, explaining that the decision had come from higher up in the company. I was devastated but tried to remain professional and focus on the next opportunity. This pattern continued for several more years, with promising situations somehow turning against me at the last minute. I started to wonder if I was doing something wrong or if I simply wasn't as talented as I had believed. My confidence began to erode, and I found myself second-guessing every decision and interaction at work. My wife was supportive during these difficult times, but I noticed that she never seemed particularly surprised when things didn't work out for me. She would offer comfort and encouragement, but there was something in her demeanor that felt almost rehearsed. I pushed these thoughts away, feeling guilty for doubting the woman I loved. The turning point came when I was offered a position at a competing company that would have been a significant step up in both responsibility and compensation. I was excited about the opportunity and had already begun planning how this move would benefit our future together. The interview process had gone exceptionally well, and I felt confident that this was finally my chance to break through. 2 days before I was supposed to start my new position, I received a call from the hiring manager informing me that they had decided to go with another candidate. The reason given was vague and didn't align with any of the feedback I had received during the interview process. I was confused and disappointed, but there was nothing I could do except move forward. That evening, I decided to go for a walk to clear my head and process what had happened. I ended up at a coffee shop near our house, where I ran into one of my former colleagues who had left our company a few months earlier. We started talking about our respective career situations, and he mentioned something that made my blood run cold. He told me that he had heard from a mutual friend that someone had been spreading information about me to potential employers in our industry. According to his source, this person had been systematically undermining my reputation by sharing selective and misleading information about my work performance and character. The description he gave of this person matched my father-in-law perfectly. I initially refused to believe what I was hearing, but my colleague was insistent that his information was reliable. He suggested that I do some investigating on my own to verify the claims, and reluctantly, I agreed that I needed to know the truth. The thought that someone I trusted and respected could be betraying me in such a calculated way was almost too much to bear. Over the next few weeks, I began paying closer attention to the timing of my professional setbacks and the family events that seemed to coincide with them. I started documenting patterns and reaching out to contacts in my industry to gather more information. What I discovered was far worse than I had initially imagined. My father-in-law had been using his connections and reputation to spread a carefully crafted narrative about me that painted me as unreliable, difficult to work with, and lacking in the skills necessary for advancement. He had been doing this for years, always staying just within the bounds of what could be considered professional networking and industry gossip. The most devastating part was discovering that my wife had been feeding him information about my work projects, career goals, and professional relationships. She had been sharing details from our private conversations that he then used to sabotage my opportunities with surgical precision. Every intimate moment we had shared about my hopes and dreams had been turned into ammunition against me. When I confronted my wife with the evidence I had gathered, she initially denied everything and accused me of being paranoid and delusional. But as I presented more and more proof of their coordinated efforts, her facade began to crumble. She finally admitted that her family had never approved of our marriage and had been working to prove that I wasn't worthy of their daughter. The revelation that this betrayal had been ongoing for our entire relationship was devastating beyond words. Every family gathering, every piece of advice, every moment of apparent support had been part of an elaborate deception designed to destroy my career and ultimately drive us apart. I felt like my entire life had been built on a foundation of lies. According to my wife, her family believed that I wasn't good enough for her, and that she would eventually realize this if they could just demonstrate my professional inadequacy. They thought that by preventing me from achieving success, they could prove that I was a failure and convince her to leave me. The cold calculation behind their actions was breathtaking in its cruelty. What made it even worse was learning that other family members had been aware of the plan and had actively participated in maintaining the deception. Her mother had been gathering information during our casual conversations, and her siblings had been spreading rumors about me within their own professional networks. The entire family had been working together to destroy me while smiling to my face. The psychological impact of this discovery was profound and long-lasting. I found myself questioning every relationship and every interaction, wondering who else might be deceiving me. The trust I had placed in people I considered family had been completely shattered, and I struggled to believe that anyone could genuinely care about me without ulterior motives. My marriage obviously couldn't survive this revelation, and the divorce proceedings were ugly and contentious. My wife's family continued their campaign against me even during the legal process, trying to paint me as unstable and vindictive. They used their connections to make the divorce as difficult and expensive as possible, viewing it as one final opportunity to cause me harm. The professional damage they had inflicted over the years was extensive and difficult to repair. I had to essentially start over in my career, building new relationships and establishing my reputation from scratch. Many potential employers had already heard negative things about me through the industry grapevine, and overcoming those perceptions required tremendous effort and persistence. I eventually decided to relocate to a different city where I could have a fresh start, without the shadow of their influence hanging over me. The move was emotionally difficult because it meant leaving behind the few genuine friendships I had maintained, but it was necessary for my sanity and my future prospects. Starting over in a new place was both terrifying and liberating. I had to rebuild my professional network from the ground up, but I also had the opportunity to be more selective about the people I chose to trust. I became much more guarded in my personal relationships, carefully observing people's actions over time before allowing them into my inner circle. The experience taught me valuable lessons about the importance of maintaining independence and not becoming too reliant on any single support system. I learned to diversify my professional relationships, and to always keep my own records and documentation of my work and achievements. These habits have served me well in my subsequent career development. Perhaps most importantly, I learned to trust my instincts when something feels wrong, even if I can't immediately identify what's causing my discomfort. The subtle signs of their deception had been there all along, but I had dismissed them because I wanted to believe in the fairy tale of being accepted by a loving family. The healing process was long and difficult, involving lots of self-reflection and gradual rebuilding of my confidence. I had to learn to separate my worth as a person from my professional achievements, understanding that their sabotage reflected their character, not mine. This perspective shift was crucial for my mental health and future success. Years later, I can honestly say that their betrayal, while devastating at the time, ultimately led me to a better life. I developed stronger boundaries, better judgment about people's true motivations, and a deeper appreciation for genuine relationships. The experience forced me to become more self-reliant and confident in my own abilities. I eventually found success in my new career path, though it took several years of hard work and persistence. The satisfaction of achieving my goals through my own efforts, without the interference of people who claimed to care about me, was incredibly rewarding. I proved to myself that I was capable of success when given a fair opportunity. I also found love again, though it took time to overcome my trust issues and open myself up to vulnerability. My current partner is someone who values honesty and direct communication, and we've built a relationship based on mutual respect and genuine support. The contrast between this healthy relationship and my previous marriage is stark and enlightening. Looking back, I sometimes wonder if there were signs I missed or if I could have uncovered their deception sooner. But I've come to accept that some people are simply skilled at manipulation and deception, and that falling victim to their schemes doesn't reflect any failing on my part. The important thing is that I eventually discovered the truth and took action to protect myself. The experience also gave me a deeper understanding of family dynamics and the toxic patterns that can exist within seemingly normal families. I learned that blood relationships don't automatically create love or loyalty, and that chosen family can be far more supportive and genuine than biological family. This understanding has shaped how I approach all of my relationships. Today, I'm grateful for the hard lessons I learned through this experience, even though I wouldn't wish the pain of discovery on anyone. The betrayal taught me to value authenticity over appearances and to prioritize my own well-being over the approval of others. These are lessons that have served me well in all areas of my life. The story serves as a reminder that not everyone who claims to support you actually has your best interests at heart. Some people are motivated by jealousy, prejudice, or a desire for control, and they will go to great lengths to achieve their goals. Recognizing these patterns and protecting yourself from such people is an essential life skill. I've also learned the importance of building a diverse support network that isn't concentrated in any single family or social group. Having multiple sources of advice, encouragement, and professional opportunities makes it much harder for any individual or group to undermine your success. This diversification has been crucial to my subsequent achievements. The experience ultimately made me a stronger, more discerning person who is better equipped to navigate complex social and professional situations. While I wouldn't choose to go through such a betrayal again, I can honestly say that it contributed to my growth and development in ways that might not have happened otherwise. Moving forward, I've made peace with the fact that some people will never accept or support me, and that's okay. What matters is surrounding myself with people who genuinely care about my well-being and success. The contrast between toxic relationships and healthy ones becomes much clearer once you've experienced both extremes. This experience taught me that resilience isn't about avoiding difficult situations, but about how you respond when you discover that your trust has been misplaced. The ability to rebuild, adapt, and continue pursuing your goals despite setbacks is perhaps the most valuable skill anyone can develop in life. The betrayal by my wife's family was one of the most painful experiences of my life, but it also became the catalyst for positive changes that I might never have made otherwise. Sometimes the worst things that happen to us ultimately led us to where we need to be, though we can't see it at the time. Today, I'm successful, happy, and surrounded by people who genuinely support my goals and celebrate my achievements. The contrast between my current life and the toxic environment I escaped makes me appreciate every day the freedom to pursue my dreams without sabotage or interference from those who claim to care about me.